Elections don't suggest or necessarily indicate that democracy is happening. Many authoritarian regimes in the Arab world have depended on elections to reinforce the power of the political leaders. So it would be a significant change if we saw in the process of political change that elections were part of a process of democratic consolidation. In the case of Iraq and particularly Lebanon, elections have not allowed the political scene to do a major breakthrough, particularly in the case of Lebanon, in terms of minimizing the effect of sectarian politics.
Results of the election were not a major surprise. They don't fundamentally change the political landscape in Lebanon, although they bring some change. Hezbollah and its allies did achieve a slight majority, and their opponents used to have a majority, only got a minority. This, however, does not change the general governance formula in Lebanon, which is power sharing among the main political groups and communities. So it's not going to change political life in Lebanon fundamentally. Every country and every political system is rather unique to itself, but I would say that there are elements of the Lebanese political system which are already being applied in Iraq, which is the principle of sharing of power among the main communities and among the main political groupings.
It's very important that the elections in Iraq are actually the fifth consecutive elections we've had for parliament and for provincial councils. It's also important that we have competitive elections. In other words, the results are not predictable, because in every elections we've had, there has been some surprises. So unlike other countries such as Egypt, where the result is a foregone conclusion, in Iraq it is difficult to predict.
Egypt's presidential election was not competitive, nor free and fair, nor was the outcome uncertain. But it was an important demonstration of the desire of many Egyptians for some kind of change, including the willingness of many Egyptians, including Egyptians from the establishment, from the military, to try to run in this election, but they were not allowed to. Certainly, unsurprisingly, the elections that were freer and more competitive were, more successful, had higher turnout rates, drew more attention of the public. Certainly the local elections in Tunisia, the elections in Iraq, elections in Lebanon, all were more important electoral events.
So it's important for Tunisians nationwide to be able to vote and to see a real result, especially in terms of seeing individuals elected in their own towns and provinces, which hasn't been true for a very long time. In a country where views of democracy have been somewhat strained due to views on government incompetence, lack of economic progress, lack of political progress as well. The electoral process also supports democratic development in one very important way. It hugely expands the pool of people who are running for election and people who are actually elected to office. And that's a big deal in terms of creating greater expertise in elections, greater numbers of candidates, greater numbers of politicians, for better or for worse, and also more people who are exposed on a grassroots level to the democratic process.
The issue of elections in the Arab world is, of course, linked to democracy, and it's part and parcel of our mission at the Arab Center. So we're delighted to have events of this sort, focusing on positive steps that have taken place recently in 4 different countries pertaining to elections. To me, what's so important about having these different countries adopt elections, some of course local, some parliamentary, some presidential, the importance lies in the fact that these elections have taken place. I would rather see people in these countries fight it at the ballot box than fight it at the battlefield.